sometimes you have to make a decision as to whether you want to turn the heating on or you want to just stay in a cold house. And all of this has affected my mental well-being.
At times, I've been forced to go to food banks to get by and eat smaller portions to make what we have to last longer. When my children go into a kitchen to look for food, all I see is disappointment faces as they find the cupboards empty, or sometimes we have to do having our main meals as buying a pot noodle that's worth 80p, so offering each child an 80p meal as a main meal on an evening, and we have to get by that as a way of survival and suffice.
Also, there's a lot of suffering in silence where people don't talk about what they're struggling with because they feel a stigma with the cost of to say that I'm struggling, and it takes a lot of courage. I mean, I find particularly the elderly people, like my mom and dad's generation, it's almost in their time was a stigma to be poor. So even now when they will struggle, they would not say they are struggling because it's almost like it's not something that you own up to. That is causing a lot of vulnerabilities for the elderly South Asian communities and for other communities as well.
I think this is a whole new experience of my generation. During the 1950s and 1960s and 70s, right up to the current day, gradually the standard of living in the country increased, slowly but surely.
So, due to the cost of living crisis, some of the strain and stress that it's causing is having a sharp impact on people's mental health and well-being. I myself have suffered from mental health from the cost of living crisis due to the stress and the worries on rise of inflation, fuel, energy bills, and still there's a rise further, especially now we're in winter, because the bills, the anxiety of every monthly, every quarterly, every time a bill has to be taken out of the bank, it causes anxiety and stress, because at the end of the month, there's always a worry how much money is going to be left over. So it has a financial impact as well as our physical, mental and well-being impact. And these are some of the strains that the cost of living crisis is having upon us.
I think that the cost of living has affected my life because everything's gone up. The food and the gas and the electric, and it's caused me to not be able to pay all of my bills. So because I was struggling with paying, like feeding my kids and and having enough gas and electricity to be able to wash my clothes, I got into debt and I had to come and live in a hotel.
We all know the current economic situation. Things are not easy. The fuel, the gas, everything is a pain. Everything is a financial burden right now. So it hasn't been easy, and that's been one main stress factor, one main area. That's the finances, and just trying to balance, make ends meet, and not just living by the £3 at the end of the month sort of balance, or sometimes even in a red before you even start a new month. It hasn't been easy.
Well, my main focus is to not get myself into debt. So I have really avoided borrowing money, which has made it a little bit harder. But I've gone to food banks. So I've had about 6 or 7 food banks, which at a certain point had to be overridden because you're only allowed a certain amount. But because of my circumstances, I was given a food bank. But I can still only get that once a week. I've been going to the Share Shack, which provides hot food on 1 day a week. The community centre can provide me with hot food as well sometimes, and just the community, to be honest. Friends have had me round for dinner, things that you shouldn't normally have to do though, if I'm honest. So you should be able to go home, put your heating on and cook dinner, and I haven't been able to do that.
I'm disabled, struggle with most things, but as I get into explaining it, hopefully this will shed some light. Years and years ago, people who were disabled used to beg in the street, and they used to put their cap out, waiting for people to give them money. And they would put their hands in the cap and put money in there. That's why the word handicap developed, because people would put their hand in a cap, and then it become handicapped. I feel like every day I'm putting my hat out and I'm begging for money. I'm trying to work out the best way to survive. Do I choose to put more on the electric, or do I choose to put more on the gas? Knowing that we need electric for all the appliances, but with the conditions that I have and the pain I'm in, I need the heating on. So what do you choose? And how do you balance that up? I'm a type 1 diabetic as well. So every time I see the doctor, their advice is, you need to eat this, you should have this healthy food, you should get this. But if you look at this food and what I would need, the pricing is ridiculous. So then I have to make a choice. Do I have this food, which is apparently meant to make me feel better? Or do I let the rest of the family have hardly any food because I'm having to? So I make the choice to sacrifice my health.
The cost of living has affected my life and my family's life, because everything's the cost of living, the bills, the food, the non-essential clothing, everything's gone costly. And I have a little daughter. She's 4.5 years old. She's got special needs.
Okay.
So she needs a lot of sort of like extra clothing and nappies and wipes. So everything's just gone up. So I'm on benefits.
Do you have any more children?
I have an adult son.
Yeah.
He's got learning difficulties and autism. So he's also struggling at times mentally. So I have to support him and guide him through that.
Hi, you were saying that you have to get taxis.
Yes, I every day make taxes. The taxes okay before is good. It's 10 pound of 13 pound, but now it's 20 pound for the.
So why are you getting taxis? What's the reason?
For my child is cannot for the going with the public transport.
Okay.
It's screaming, shouting,
Okay.
running.
So when you're saying that,
yeah.
so you're saying that when they're on public transport, because
Yes.
they've got learning disabilities
Yes.
and disabilities, special needs, that they're running around screaming, so you have to put them on.
Yes.
Okay.
I work for 8 hours a week in school term time. I receive some support from Universal Credit because I'm on a low income. Recently, the job centre says I have to work more hours. Because I have a mental health problem, I cannot work full time. I take 300 milligrams of clozapine per day since July 2000 and have regular blood tests every 4 weeks.
Can I just ask then, the medication you take affects your daily life?
Yes, the medication I take makes me drowsy and for me means I cannot drive. And means sometimes I have to nap in the day. The strain I'm facing is that I like being a lollipop lady, as I've worked for them over 2 years, so I'll get a good work reference from them. So I should not be told to get more hours or different jobs which might not be suitable for me. The current job I have is local, part-time, physical, which is what I wanted.
Well, I'm just constantly thinking, what do I need to do to achieve this? So if I haven't got dinner, it's a stress. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying not to let it affect me mentally, but that's difficult because I've got children to look after. And when you've got children to look after, it's no longer about you. And if it was just me, I could probably ride it and just be like, I'll be cold tonight. But when you're worried about your children being cold, it's a whole different kind of worry. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel sometimes I'm just really upset when the kids go to bed and I just think, God, I made it through another day, kind of thing.
Okay. What else does being poor mean?
it means you can't do anything.
What you mean, like going out?
Yeah, you can't buy anything.
And
You can't pay the bus if you want to go on the bus.
Now, basic necessities I feel like are luxuries, and
So when people ask me about the cost of living, I will emphasise again, it is not a cost of living, it is a cost of surviving.